Good evening, everybody. Welcome to, good afternoon. Welcome to Pub Table Racers Special Edition. We are coming to you live from Lake Norman Patio and Game Rooms. My name is Tim Packman. This is
Warren Brosell.
And we are Pub Table Racers. Come on out here. We're on Brawley School Road in Mooresville, right by Canvasback. Excellent thing. This teak, lovely teak bar we're using today is for sale and for $21.99. And if you come out, well, that's the decimal.
Negotiable.
Yeah, to the. So come on out, we'll be here till 1, and if you want to get a pool table, a foosball table, today,
Half price.
instead of $1,000, it's only $500. Out the door, it goes. So get there while we're here. Vicky said quiet. I don't know if Vicky's telling us to be quiet. On today's show, we have Warren. Why do we have a bucket of beer?
She says quiet. Are we coming through?
No, I said quiet on the set.
Oh,
so
okay.
she was just helping us out.
As long as we got good audio.
Got it.
Here, I'll check it out.
We're good.
Check it out.
Well, we can hear you, so I know that. We can hear. We're good, everybody. Okay.
All right.
Why do we have a bucket of beer?
Well, we have a bucket of beer because we like to sit around and drink beer and discuss racing and other issues.
So, which is why this show, other issues, which is how this show started, because we were sitting around drinking, we were talking about racing, and Warren says we should do a show like this.
Right.
That's how
I'm having a water first this afternoon.
Oh yeah. So I'm the only idiot. Okay.
I might have done a little bit too much pub tabling last evening.
Shocking, everybody! Everyone's like in total shock. Thanks for tuning in. We are here live at Lake Norman Patio and Game Rooms. 704-660-0527. Come down and see JoJo. Great items for sale today. And if you're military, past or present, Memorial Day 10% sale is still going on. So Brad kept it going.
Nice.
For us being here. So cheers to everybody.
Cheers.
12. I'm cheersing water. 12:03.
Don't worry, I'll catch up.
Yeah, I know you will. Trust me, I know. I'm probably going to be here with this one. Okay, today's show we're going to talk about charters. The charter system, and we're also
not a road charter, to NASCAR charter tokens or whatever they were calling them for a while. You had a.
That tastes delicious.
You had a medallion. Remember a medallion? I don't know what it was.
That was in taxis.
In taxis.
But now you're okay. Audio was interrupted, but now we're good. Okay, appreciate that, Vicky. Okay, in addition to that, we're going to talk road courses. Like them, love them, hate them. We want to hear from you on that. And then we're going to bring on our number one fan, Tom Beatty. You know what? Let's just bring him in.
Let's just bring him in. All the way
from New Jersey. Drove down yesterday.
Tom's a big guy.
Tom's a tall guy.
Tall.
He's out of the shot. There you go. Sit on down there.
All right.
Perfect. See, you fit right in there.
Yeah, I sank down.
And you've got we gave you the cushy chair too.
Yeah,
so he came down.
Yeah, I came down.
Right in there. So the man's 6'6", and
I'm sitting on 3 phone books right now.
For those of you kids that don't know what a phone book is,
Yeah, how about that? What's a phone book?
Okay, now
it's next to the typewriter.
Right, thank you. And your transistor radio.
Rotary phone.
We got look at the shirt. See his shirt?
Number one fan.
Number one fan. That's amazing. He has that's embroidered in there. That means it can never go away.
That was done for Steve Tidmore.
There you go.
Nice.
Steve Tidmore.
Nice.
Yes, so
just to let him know he's one.
So
you guys got to meet.
Steve Tidmore from Ontario Tailgate System, he goes, I'm coming after you, Tom Beatty, to be number one fan. I'm like, oh, the rivalry starts.
There it is.
Tom, too tall Tom. Perfect. Okay, first of all, thank you for coming down. We
Absolutely.
If we can introduce one.
Pleasure.
Well, I can't leave a wingman.
That's right, thank you.
It's not Cinnamon Toast Crunch or whatever you had last night, bud.
Wings are later.
Yeah.
Cheers, yeah, that's right.
Cheers.
Cheers
There you go.
to everybody else in this room. All right, now we got to take a drink. It's delicious. Good. Okay, so first of all, what prompted you to, what motivated you to come on down? And we know you watch every show. You got the shirts, the hats, tumblers, you got it all. What made you decide to come on down?
Vicky allowed me.
Okay, Vicky allowed you to tell people who Vicky is.
Vicky's my better half, my partner.
Okay.
Vicky Applegate's home. She couldn't make it today. She wanted to be here. But I wanted to see you guys. This was a chance. It was on a weekend. I just said, Vic, I'm going to jump in the truck and take off and go. And I want to see you guys.
So how did you hear about us? Or how did you discover us?
How did you find us?
Can
you ask her to turn the music down? Please ask JoJo to turn the music down, please. Go ahead.
That started at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yep.
Right.
When everybody was basically afraid to even go out their door. I was on Facebook, and there was a page from our local track from Bridgeport Speedway, and I was trying to find it, so I just searched under racers, and Pub Table Racer came up.
Okay.
And then from there, I watched one show. It was Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, I liked it. It was a funny episode. So I said, I'm going to watch this again the next night and the next Tuesday.
We're still fun.
So I was addicted to it after that. Yeah, you're still fun. And sometimes you're...
We get a little dry every now and then.
Right.
Tim had to calm me down. You know, I'm not allowed to use all my corny jokes.
I'm glad there wasn't a height requirement.
Well, you wouldn't have made, neither would you made the ride. You're too short.
Well, that's why we set it up this way.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's good. We got you the cushy chair. So you kind of just found this and started watching, and then next thing you know, you're buying, you bought a hat and a shirt, and the name kept popping up, and we started talking back and forth.
Yeah, well, you started with the T-shirts and the hats,
Right.
which were very, it's a very cool design. And I'll tell you folks out there, if you're really into racing, this is a cool hat to have. I tested the tumbler out on the 9-hour drive here, and it still has ice in it.
Perfect.
So
Nice. Good.
It's a great tumbler, and I tell all my friends who I meet new or into racing, you got to catch this show because you guys go in, you talk to crewmen, drivers, people, just getting into the sport. It's in depth that you don't hear in online comms and stuff.
So, one of our things was when we started doing this was, there's other people doing these podcasts and things like that, but they're always got someone extremely famous on it. And we were talking about all the people in the sport that are unsung heroes that have been doing this for 20, 30 years that get no recognition whatsoever. Like I'll use a perfect example of Billy Wilburn, and we had Billy on, and his story is phenomenal, and it's things like that. That's why we started this. It's kind of just grown from there. We've had some things.
Sure, we once in a while we like in gambling, the guy we get a whale on. They call the big hitters come in,
but it's usually a whale. We also someone that we've either worked for or that we know personally
or felt sorry for us.
Well, as far as I know I'm not famous, so
You are now. You are now.
Or infamous.
No, you don't want to be infamous. You don't want that at all. Famous is good, infamous is not. Well, we appreciate it, and thanks for coming down. And
Absolutely.
so we're going to talk. First of all, how did you get interested in racing? I mean, everyone has.
Yeah, what's your background?
Going back to high school, my brother went for auto mechanics.
Okay.
I went for diesel mechanics. So I'm a diesel mechanic by trade. And my best friend in diesel shop, his family was actually in NHRA racing. So he kind of got me into the racing bug, and I graduated in '82. So yeah, with you too. Then I was dating a girl whose best friend was on a dirt track team, and I was like, even back then, women weren't really into on the teams. So she introduced me to the team, and here, the owner of the car, it was all his sisters was the pit crew and one crew chief. So I talked to them, and they said, yeah, we can really use you to come on board because you have mechanical knowledge, and just like you always said, you go on a race team, you do anything, sweep the floor, dirt track cars need to be cleaned, they need, all this maintenance. So I came on board to do that and wound up being the jack man.
I could see that.
Yeah, that's all.
Even though we had Matthew Philpott on last week.
5'6". Yeah, sorry.
So that's one long pump of the jack, and I had it up, and that didn't sound right.
Yeah, it's okay.
But
I wasn't going to go there.
I like it already.
But more than you take the bait, you took your own bait on that one. Oh, and it's only 12:10 a.m. or p.m. Perfect.
So I was on the street stock
dirt
track, and we wound up winning the Bridgeport Speedway Championship 3 times.
Very
and
good.
That really kept the bug going and going towards NASCAR. And the company I was working for, Joffer Cosmetics, which was a basically woman-owned, woman-run, very successful company, and Shauna Robinson was coming up, and she was with BAM, Beth Morgenstein, and she was still looking for sponsorship. So I reached out to Shauna Robinson, and I actually was going very well to get Joffer sponsorship on her car. Speaking with her, it went all the way up the corporate ladder. Just one person knocked it out. I was 99% ready to have sponsorship on Shauna's car.
And so so you said you told me last night, like you ran this right up through the ladder. People were just, oh yeah, it's great. It got to one person.
Hit all the signatures, and this one person, VP of Worldwide Marketing, knocked it down. And it really opened my eyes to see what people go through to try to get sponsorship on those cars.
Sure.
You know,
how
and here-
quickly it can just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of effort into that.
Sure.
You know, going up the corporate ladder of COO, CFO, presidents. I had everybody on board, and it's a shame that just one person's lack of vision who couldn't see a women-owned company on a
I
woman-owned,
know.
woman driver.
Perfect. Yeah.
If that car ever won, whose name is going to be
Sure.
on that
Right.
car?
Yeah.
You know, and it was closed mind. Several years later, I was working for Harley Davidson, which is a woman-owned company, Barb's Harley Davidson, and I reached out to Jennifer Jo Cobb, and she called me on the phone. We had a great rapport on there, talking about the racing and my background with it. And I said, I'd like to see if I can get Harley on your truck, and that started her and I communicating back and forth. So not to say that I'm always just trying to deal with women in racing, which is always nice, but moving on with Jennifer, again, I almost had that sponsorship on her truck, and just something happened within that deal, and it fell apart.
Yeah.
But it just kept me into the sport.
Right.
So from that time, when the pandemic hit and all sports were shutting down, Major League Baseball, football, everything, NASCAR was shutting down, you guys were starting up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, here's my hope to get back into something that's racing involved. And it's a great platform. You guys throw on a great show. And I'm hooked. As you can see, I'm #1 fan. It took me a while, though. It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Well, you worked on it.
You were right. Some people might say you bought your way, but we don't say that. But no, you're there all the time. You support. You do the funny memes for us. We talk, back and forth, you and Warren and I. And it's just good because we do this. We don't know who's out there. We don't know, who's listening or watching. But then what you're doing, and it's like, okay, so we got someone driving in from New Jersey, and other people we run into go, oh, hey, you're the guy from the It's it's good.
Well, it's neat to see all the replies on your show too. You were reading all those comments. Like
Right.
you'll address a few of them, but everybody on the other side are reading
Gets to see
all
all
the
of them.
comments.
Yeah.
You got who was it? Michael, the other driver.
Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace,
Mike
right.
Wallace
Yep,
was
same
commenting.
thing.
And when you read those guys that
Sure.
come on board and make comments, it just keeps you involved and keeps you interested in the show.
So George Williams, he says he wants to be like you when he grows up. Thomas 66, Vicky says, Pete, Tigu, Hayne, said when here says Tommy.
Okay.
And Dickie Dennis says happy to be here.
Great.
There you go.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad you signed on and subscribed to Pub just for the show. We try to watch it and stay involved. I mean, it's a really great show to watch.
And also we're on YouTube, so go there, subscribe to our YouTube. You can do right there, and we appreciate that. So you can see past shows, and that's where we kind of do an edit of the beginning and an end to it. But that's kind of like the less raw version.
And what other show celebrates the love of beer?
Yeah, you know what?
Dale Jr. does it. No, on his show. He's all talking this and that. But do you see this? No.
But the thing is, now we notice that there's more shows that are starting to enjoy beverages out there. Like, well, look at that.
Get to the back of the bus.
We're driving this thing.
Yeah,
That's it.
top.
All right, we're the leaders.
All right. So you're Warren Isher. Who are your favorite drivers?
Dale Earnhardt Sr., obviously. That was my first. And then Harry Gant, handsome Harry Gant, Mr. October, Neil Bonnet. There were several. Like I said, back in this late 70s, 80s, at the high when Winston Cup was real and it was an event to go to a track. I mean,
Sure.
I would get out of work on Friday afternoon and run to Dover, Delaware just to see qualifying. Qualifying was a big thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
we had practice and qualifying
was a big deal.
and second round qualifying
Yeah.
we used to do, and motor changes and it was an event for sure.
Vicky and I with some friends from Logan Township, New Jersey. Hey, I gave you a shout out, Eddie Gavenna and the crowd.
Right.
We went to Dover this past 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't the same feel. Mainly because they still had the parking lot; everything was cut down.
Right.
It was only like maybe a quarter to a half capacity.
Okay. Were they at 25%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're still keeping the 6 foot, and you're not getting the full 70
Go to Dover. That was one of my things all the time when I'd go to Dover. Go to get a good seat there because it's
Samples.
Yeah,
That was the place.
Yeah,
Samples
there was another one on one of them inlets too where we would go. Great seafood.
We were having liquid lunch that day.
Nice. That's,
So we had,
that's good too.
My brother from Vegas, hey Jim, Robert Van Norman, who worked in the sport for years, Michael Bama Williams. Warren, the tin bar is shut down, damn it, COVID.
So Bama is a truck driver.
Okay, got it.
On the 22.
Okay,
And I'm glad you're watching.
thanks, Bama.
The Tin Bar. Do you know the Tin Bar in
that's
Sonoma?
fine. No.
So there's a bar in Sonoma, a couple miles from the track that we would usually stop at on the way back to the hotel.
Right.
And what it was it's like a guy's garage.
Okay.
It's like it's a garage with a bunch of old car parts and pieces, and it's a really small bar. The bar area is really small. Most people would either sit outside or you know. And it was, no cell phones. If you're caught on your cell phone, you have to buy the whole round, the
At the
bar
bar?
around. Yes.
Oh, wow. Could you imagine that?
So,
today?
but it's a really cool place, Ernie's Tin Bar. And
Okay.
the last time I was there, me and some of the boys,
Sure.
no names,
no
but
names.
we drank them out of High Life, and
Nice.
then
Shocking.
we proceeded to get into the hams. He had hams.
Hams beer?
Hams beer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
yeah.
You were thirsty.
But yeah, that's great. A lot of fun, that place.
So I've been to
I
Sonoma
hate that
one
that's
time.
shut down.
I went to Sonoma in my career one time, and I came back and I got fired from the team on Tuesday. So that was my one trip. They started it, and it was formed. Rob Coughlin was behind it. The deal they made with NASCAR, and so that guarantees it. Well, now I was reading a story the other day where teams that want to get them, they can't get their hands on them because the people that have them are holding on to them.
Right.
So Denny Hamlin had a great quote. He's like, "Look, I'm not going to spend millions of dollars." He's talking about a second team for his to go the 23. He said, "Why do I want to spend millions of dollars when they might go away in 2024?"
So when did they talk about them? They might go away.
And they might go because the contract is up between.
Oh, okay.
The charter. What's it called? I forgot.
The RTA.
RTA. Thank you. Almost worked there. RTA. Yeah, that deal with them. I'm not saying it's going to go away. I said if it does, but it was just interesting. But I just these teams that are buying them and they lease them out for a year, and Joe Falk's the master of moving his around.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys they'll lease them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shell game. They didn't, to me, they don't police it good enough. And a good friend of mine, Brian Smith, he got kind of ruined his business because of that, because of how the shell game worked, and he didn't end up getting a charter, and he was supposed to use someone's, and they lease them to people, and to me, if it's in your hand, you should have to use it or sell it. Period.
Exactly. You should have to use it.
Or forfeit it.
Right. Well, forfeit. That's it. You're not using it.
Right.
Give it to someone else that's available.
I think the charter idea was a bad idea from the get-go.
Why is that?
I just, when you go back to NASCAR's roots, it was run with your brung, and as it progressed, when the speed really got up over 200, then there was the safety issues.
Right.
And then they were concerned with the guys that really didn't have a lot of money in these teams to do wind tunnel testing, where the big leagues had all the time in the world to wind tunnel test and make their cars safer. I could see them making rules and limiting how much time. But to me, throwing a charter out there, you're really screwing the little guy who wants to be a part of the sport, has enough money to bring a sanctioned car, a car that's safe, a driver that has the skills to drive. But now, if they win, they're still screwed from moving on in the standings.
So and now, without qualifying, with no qualifying, because let's say you don't have a charter, and someone has to go home because the charter guarantees you a spot in the
Exactly.
field.
36. Yeah.
It's and that's kind of what you're getting at. Like when they started that, Wood Brothers didn't have a charter,
Right.
And they're in the sport for forever, and they, for whatever the reason was, I can't remember if they didn't run all the races one year, or I can't remember what happened, why they didn't get they didn't get a charter.
Because they were running part-time.
They were running part-time.
That's it, so there's no reason to get
Yeah.
them.
So, you know, if this ever gets back to where there's 50 cars that want to start a race, and, you know, I think it could very well get back to that, the way this new car is going to be.
Oh, yeah,
Because you're going to be able to go buy one of these cars.
Exactly. So I have a team, you have a team, you have a team. We're spending the same thing for, let's say, a fender or an engine. It's the same price. So everybody's on the budget, you know,
Right.
they know what they have. Now, some got more sponsorship. I don't know, is that going to make you go faster? I mean, because you just have to work on them.
I mean, it's always been about money and technology.
Innovation.
It makes you go faster,
Right.
and you know, at some point in time, someone will figure something out with this car, and it'll be fast. You know, whoever
you.
figures it out first.
I bet you.
Well,
You'll figure something out.
I would love to do that.
You know, you were good, you know, when you had to do cowls and stuff like that.
Right.
He'll figure it out. He just has to remember it. I had a thought right now.
That's what I got other people working with me for.
Remember what I said the other day?
No, neither
I
did
never
I.
remember. I can't count on anybody to remember what I said last time.
Yeah, at any rate, I think the way this new car is going to be, you're going to want to have as many teams as they let you, first of all. And I almost think that they might NASCAR might open up the door and say, hey, you know, we're going to let, you know, they might let other teams have 5 cars in their stable or more, just to get the car count up, you know, and to get more people watching, you know, because of more sponsorship on cars, you know.
So I found this interesting, so it made me think of the charter thing. There was only 38 cars in Charlotte for the 600. The home area of NASCAR here.
Right.
And there was not a full field. So these teams that are local, to get there, the travel there was reduced, but to still, I just thought, I was just kind of like 38 in the backyard.
And what's weird about that is they actually had qualifying, so if there would have been, you know,
42.
if there would have been another whatever amount of cars there, it wouldn't have been a big deal to go home from there as it would be to go home from Sonoma.
Sure.
Because it's in your backyard, you know.
But I think the thing is that,
And you get to qualify.
but you know you're in. So it's not, the qualifying was done not if you made the race, it's where you're going to start.
Right.
Strictly, back in the day, it was, you know, who got home. I mean,
Yep.
there used to be 6, 7, 8 names down there.
Yeah, I mean, there was, I think I can remember one year at Daytona, there was 57
Yeah,
cars.
that's right.
You know, and you know, people went home. That was just the way it was.
Yeah, if you didn't make the qualifying
right.
seed, you
Okay.
missed it.
Favorite track, Tom?
Favorite track?
Favorite track?
And I've been to just about everyone on the East Coast.
Okay.
Charlotte is one of my favorites. Humpy Wheeler always put on a great show. The 600 was always fantastic because it was serviceman related, and he always put on a show for the fans. That's always
Agreed.
great.
Yeah.
You know.
He had a production there.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
was
was
a show.
It was a show.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that seat brought you fans that were excited for the show, and it started with like half hour, 45 minutes
Yeah.
before they even talked about the national anthem and doing that, because you knew there was something going to happen.
Yeah, there was cannons and people flying out of airplanes and
Everything.
People rappelling out of
repelling out of
helicopters.
helicopters.
Yeah.
A driver coming in by helicopter from Indy.
Yeah.
I remember, like, what was it? Stewart came in one night, Robbie
Yeah. Gordon
came in, and I just remember those were some of the cooler moments there. Favorite track that you like to watch? That you don't have to have been to.
Daytona's one. Pocono's too big. It's like once they go into the turn, or Long Pond, it's like, when are they coming out?
Yeah.
What is it,
Where's
2.5
going
miles to 2 miles?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, unless you're in the right spot,
Yeah.
you can't see Pocono.
Yeah.
Dover's my home track,
Right.
which has gone through the changes, going from asphalt to concrete jungle to,
Yep.
you know,
Dover to me is like Bristol on steroids.
Exactly.
You know,
Best way to put
it's that high bank, super fast, and you know, it reminds me of Bristol, but a mile, you know,
Like
but
when you
bigger.
go to that turn, you're literally dropping down 2 stories. The cars go off of, turn 1,
Yeah.
like that. So that's cool. Okay.
Richmond was always fun to go
I
to.
like Richmond Night Race
Richmond's
myself.
Yeah, Richmond was always a good time. the one thing I loved about Charlotte was the state police always had their game on. You could have 100,000 fans, and you're out back at your hotel or on your way home.
Oh, traffic.
in
Traffic and
minutes.
parking is always, they did always a phenomenal job.
Unlike
was
Kentucky
fantastic.
when they first opened.
Yeah. There's people, racers, who couldn't even get in.
In time to,
Yeah.
It just came to the top of my head. I don't know how bad that used to be.
Well, they figured it out.
They figured out quickly because people were buying
Yeah,
tickets.
we only let them come in one way, we only let them go out one way.
Hey, there you go. Best way to do it. Let's talk about road courses. And people watching, we want to hear from you as well. The road courses, there's 6 of them now on the schedule. In the past, they used to bring in ringers. I was never a big road course fan until Dale Earnhardt, with a broken collarbone, sat on the pole at Watkins Glen. I went, what's this all about?
So I'm a huge
That
road
just
course
shows you
fan.
how tough it is.
I love it.
love it?
I love the road courses.
Okay, so what is it you like about it?
So I just like it because, to me, it's more about the driver than the car.
Right.
That's in my opinion. I mean, you still have to have a good car.
Sure.
There still is setups and things involved, but I like it because I think different guys can win. Hopefully Chase Elliott doesn't win.
Again, that would be what, 7 out of 8 or something like that?
But he's really good at it.
He's good.
I mean, Bill was good at it. So, but I like to think that, when we would have the ringers come in, because
Such as what Boris said,
Yeah.
Ron Fellows.
when we worked at DEI, Ron
Fellows.
Fellows would come
Great
and
guy,
drive our
yeah.
car, and it was always exciting to watch him
Right.
drive that car because he could take it to another level, than some of our other guys who weren't that versed in road course racing.
Well, Max Pappas, another one they brought
Yeah.
in for some road courses. But then became the road courses, the ringers, they went away.
Yeah,
Like, all of a sudden,
it was hard to, the cup guys, but a lot of them figured it out,
Right,
they did more, they spent more time on it.
Right.
Road racing is about putting your time into, because every corner.
People forgot who this guy is. If you forget, it's right there, stitched in there.
I'm not a number one fan of road courses.
Okay.
And that's fine, that's
Fine,
cool.
that's good.
It all depends on the type of course. You've got the newer road course that's getting wider that allows for some passing.
Right.
And then the older road courses that are not really made for NASCAR.
Or these big cars.
NASCAR is, the cars can't pass.
Right.
And then you figure that the top 10 back then that qualified are the ones, unless they had a blowout engine failure or the transmission fell out of the car, that's how, one of those are going to win.
Right.
Because they're really limited on how they can pass. They
And
can't
a
start too
strategy,
fast.
it turns into that, right?
Yeah, and I was never a big fan of it. I mean, I'll be a big fan if they ever make a figure 8. If somebody ever comes up with the idea and the money to make a figure 8, an elevated track.
And the
The very, and it wasn't a figure 8, but the very first Roval they had at Charlotte.
Yes.
And, when we went there and our cars were getting destroyed in practice,
Yes.
And there was like a jump. One of the drivers said, they ought to just put a ramp on the back and let's just have a jump we have to make. Let's jump some barrels or something.
Yeah, they were tearing off. They remember they had moved the wall. They had to take out
Yeah.
all the walls. Yeah, they were just ripping
They were
stuff up.
destroying stuff.
Yeah, well, the safety's come a long way for them too, because
true.
J.D. McDuffie.
Yeah,
lost his
Watkins
life.
Glen,
That was where was the track? Was
Watkins Glen.
Watkins Glen. He hit the tires back then.
Yeah.
And when you look at the road courses, thank God safety's gotten a lot better, and they've really looked at the tracks because the
And
drivers.
the cars too, yeah.
Yeah. They do this for a living, and they're doing it because they love racing, and on the fan aspect, we love the racing, but they made the racing safer for them to race another day.
Right.
But I don't know. So on
Okay.
road.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Anybody out there, we want to hear from you. Like them, love them, loathe them. What do you like? I started when I realized, went into it mechanically, technology, and you're pitting on the opposite side, the crews, and
Yep.
Watkins Glen was 2 hours from my house. I never went there when I lived in Buffalo until I moved down here and started working in the sport, and then I went to Watkins Glen. Love Watkins Glen. Great track.
It's also, I don't know if you've ever been to a road race, but you
Just
know,
say he hates them.
they're set up. They're set up where you can walk around.
Yeah.
You know, where you can get around the whole track.
Yeah.
You know, and usually that, you know, like I'm from Wisconsin, so Road America. When I was a kid growing up, my dad would take me there, and it was, to me, it was so much fun to be able to. You didn't just have to sit in your seat and watch the cars. You know, you could go watch in Canada Corner. You could go watch in Turn 5. You could go. You know, there was. You know, and you could turn it into a picnic almost. You know, a lot of people would camp right at, I mean,
Trackside like that.
right.
So George Williams.
I'm awake.
Are we also awake now? Here goes. George.
If I don't have a beer,
this would be this show will end.
you know, I got it out like Bama's watching.
Exactly.
You know
What's
what
up
kind
with
of
you?
shit I'm gonna catch?
First guest with no ice in the bucket.
Well, but I bring them cold.
Yeah. I just got a drink for you.
Welcome to the team. George Williams, who's a top fan, is right here, says, I think I will love Coda when it's dry, Circuit of the Americas.
The length those tires
yeah.
could take.
So, and you know, I did some road racing when I was younger.
Okay, that's what I'll bring up. So you raced where?
I raced at Road America,
Okay, and tell
Mid-Ohio.
us the strategy. Okay, where else?
There was some other smaller places, Blackhawk Farms, one place was good. Those are the main,
Okay.
those are the biggest places that I've ever raced.
And
So,
you drove SC.
SCCA, Formula 440s. It's a small car with a snowmobile engine in it.
Perfect.
Go about 130 mile an hour.
Nice. So what was the Road America? What was your secret there for the start of the race?
Road America,
This is great.
and this is when I had to start in the back because I had some mechanical issues. So Road America, you go up, there's a hill. And as you're going up the hill, only the front guys can see the flagman, and you can't pass until the flag is waved. So I had a friend of mine at the time stand up on the bridge where the flagman was, and because I was in the back, and she had one of those pink hats, and when the flag was waved, she waved her pink hat, and then I knew I could go. She's my wife now. I had to marry her because I was telling her.
If she can help me. So what did you do? You just took off your pass.
So yeah, and everybody's like, "Where's he going? How does he know?" You know, like I passed 10 cars at the start of the race because I figured that out. You know, I'm like, no one can see that flagman. So if I got it, wait a no one's going.
Hey, honey, I brought you a nice hat. Here's what you do with it. Okay? You brought me a hat. No, there's a reason. Okay. That's awesome. And I married her. That's awesome. What do we have? Bama says, drink Wisconsinable. Nothing
Wisconsinably.
else. Nothing else matters.
That's
nice.
true.
Nice, Bama.
I
Appreciate
like some
that.
limited races.
Bam, are you sitting in your truck in a parking lot somewhere?
Yeah, what time is it?
Poor
out there?
thing.
Yeah, it's what, 8:30 in the morning out there in California.
I think they just got there yesterday, maybe too. I don't know.
That's a fun trip. Not really. So road courses, we'll hear from you guys. We'd like to know what you think of them, which your favorite road course, like them. If you don't like them, let us know why, and we'll talk about it. That's what we're here for today. Once again, it's Tom Beatty, our #1 fan, all the way from New Jersey. Drove down yesterday, and was going to come down and want to be on the show. I said, perfect, come on down.
Yeah.
We just couldn't have it like a guest with all the hundreds of people sitting out here. We're at Lake Norman Patio and Game Room.
We're happy to see you.
In Mooresville. There's some seats left if you hurry down. All of them.
That's the extent of my
They're all for
racing.
sale. What's that?
I would race down Atlantic City Expressway, Route 95, down the Schuylkill River. But then, the police changed the things. They used to just take your beer. Now they want your driver's license.
Right,
and your
right. Step
So
on your
racing
car,
changed.
They used to take your beer.
It used to be,
Please step out of the vehicle, sir.
it's too tall to step out. It's 3 feet up, 3 feet back down. Here you go. Here's the beer.
I always like when they pull you over and I go, you're going to check in the trunk, right? That just throws them off real quick. All right, so you, what were we talking about?
I had a story about
Go ahead.
the trunk.
Can we tell?
So yeah, when I was in,
this is where
I was in
Hang on,
high
go ahead.
school. I was in high school, and we were going to a concert. Because you were talking about beer and trunks. So we were on our way to Alpine
They go
Valley.
together.
We were on our way to Alpine Valley. We had a quarter keg in the trunk of my buddy's car, and it was this land yacht. It was a
Sure.
Electra 225, big, huge Buick, and we ran the line through the back seat from the trunk. so we could pour beers while we were going down the road. And then if we got pulled over,
Sure.
we would just put the line back.
Sure,
through
because,
the,
you know, who thinks about that?
The mobile kegerator, he had the idea, and you know,
It was on ice
Oh my
back then.
gosh. Now, see, so when I met Evil Knievel in Florida, he had a nice Mercedes and he was on oxygen at the time. But he kept it, he said, he had the line come up through the car and he said, yeah, I put this in, I just put my oxygen and I keep the tank in the back. He goes, hope I never get hit in the ass, I'm just going to blow all that out. And I said, everything you've been through, Evil, this would be the way you go. Think about that. He goes,
Right.
yeah, but that was innovative, so that just reminded me of the.
So another friend of mine had a car. Wisconsin is typically known for rusted out. You know, we use a lot of road salt and so it was an old Monte Carlo. And in the back seat, the floorboards were rusted out, but he had rubber mats over the floors.
sure.
And I mean, you could literally see the road. And we got pulled over one evening, and we put all of our stuff, you know, through the rubber mat on the ground.
On the ground.
It was snow. There was snow on the ground, and the cop let us go. And when we drove away, we looked back, and there's 2 piles of beer cans sitting there.
nice.
And this man has won championships and worked on Daytona 500 winning cars, and that's.
It was the same car, and this is. It was the same car. It's called SS Minnow.
Okay.
He spray painted on the side.
Nice.
And he drove through a puddle of water,
Uh-huh.
and like at 60 mile an hour, and it blew those floor mats up. And the 2 of us that were sitting in the back, it was like a spray, a water spray came up through the floor and just doused us in this nasty, you know, road water. You know.
Perfect.
Yeah, the Minnow.
Nice. Vicky, your girlfriend says, here, hold my beer. Perfect.
Nice.
All right, so you've been involved in racing. We talk about this. Racing from old days to racing today. What is a couple things you like or things you might change of today's racing?
Of today's race.
Because you're old school.
Old school, because you know.
Tell us what you might like about what they've done with some things, and tell us what you hate how they've done with some of the things. Because we all have that.
The point system's my pet peeve, right? You know, how,
You don't like the chase.
no, I don't like the
You
chase.
like the old.
Well, if they're going to have the chase, don't stop. Okay, it used to be the Gillette halfway mark at $50,000, $100,000 for being the first to cross the line at halfway, but you kept racing.
Right.
So if you're going to have
the stages.
stage in the stage race,
Don't
stop.
don't make them stop. Keep them running. So I'm sure
Okay.
the teams and the owners love. There's another set of tires, and there's more fuel, and there's, you know, it created more expense to the teams stopping on those stages. Just
I kind
run
of agree
through
with
it.
that.
Okay,
Thank you.
You know, that ain't a bad idea. Yeah, you have a stage.
sure.
You're going to give out points. You're going to give out stuff for winning that
Points.
at that stage.
Still do it, yeah.
But leave it green, like you
going.
say, and people still are going to have to stop.
Eventually.
You know, you got to still get tires and fuel.
And that's part of the strategy.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so you're saying just keep going and,
Yeah,
so
'cause-
let's say you fuel run
But you
62
know why they
laps.
do that, Tom?
Why do they do that, Tom? Or-
To bunch everybody back up.
Right, take a good restart.
Bunch this. You know, the teams are setting up the cars for short sprints. They know
Yeah.
if it's 50 laps,
Sure.
60 laps, or something like
Yeah.
that, they're shorting it. They're setting it up for those runs. You know, instead of setting it up like it was the old school for that 400 laps or those
Right.
500 miles. Just make those stages, cross the line. All right, he won it. He got the points. Game on. Keep going.
I mean, so there's 2 strategies for that setup, because we do it both ways. Some of our crew chiefs will do it one way, some of them do it the other way, where you want to set it up for because you know that typically there might be a caution. So I'll say it like this. We had, the year Joey won the championship in 18, that car was set up to run 30 laps.
That's it.
That was about it. But it was fast. We were a second faster than Truex
Really?
for that stint. And if there's not a caution at the end of that race, we probably don't win. Because there was a caution at the end, we got to come and get tires, and Joey was gone. You know, so it's a strategy again of how some of them guys do it. I understand what you're saying about the long grueling run of the race. But you can't. Some cars and some drivers, you think you got a long run setup, and it just doesn't. It never doesn't work out that way. It's how the guy might drive.
Usually the Toyota bunch.
Like
They don't recognize them.
Okay, so I'm okay with the playoffs.
Sorry,
Like,
Chuck.
if you don't make it, you're out. I mean, because it's like other sports. Hockey has best of 7, baseball best of 7, football you're done with. So you're progressing. I like the drama building. At the end, there's 4 guys. One race to decide it and who's in and who's out. But I think if you're talking about doing the stages, but just keep going, that would probably be. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Because you're still running.
I do
race.
remember the Gillette halfway point
It's
too.
$10,000 halfway over that
Yeah,
halfway.
let's get Gillette back into
Yeah.
it. Let's call Mike Helton up and say, no.
Well, no, Gillette can't get back in because most of the drivers that was young, they don't shave.
Baby face punks,
Not a lot of definitely. All right, so what are the things you do like about it?
What are the things I still do?
You like things that
I love the fact of racing itself.
Okay.
That'll never leave. I still like to see the cars trying to race as fast as they can with what they have. I mean, NASCAR throws in, now they're bringing in fuel injection. Before it was the carburetor and the plate.
Right.
They're in the restrictor.
Now we have a
plates.
tapered spacer.
Yeah, being a mechanic, those things always interested me. How they make the cars go better with what they're allowed to do with it.
Right.
So I'm always still interested in that, and I always still love to see the comments online of people saying, "Oh, I'm giving up on NASCAR," but they're still watching.
They're still watching,
Right.
still coming. I'm done.
Yeah.
So one of the
Stupid
things,
comments.
because you're a mechanic, we got, and I don't necessarily like what they do with our engines, because we have motors that could make 850 horsepower, and they choke them down to 550. And to me, you're taking you could go to Randy Marion and you could go order a motor that'll make 550 horsepower. That'll run 500 miles wide open, no problem. And I don't like the fact that they take this piece of technology that Doug Yates has put in his heart and soul in, and turn it into a crate motor. Now we do take those same engines and take that tapered spacer off. It's not even the same engine, I'm sure.
Right.
And then it's 750 horsepower. Which that's still somewhat limited.
There's a question I've always wanted to ask you. Do they still build the cars front steer, rear steer?
No, all of our cars are. Everybody's pretty much on the same thing. We're all front steer.
We are live here, Pub Table Racers at Lake Norman
And the
Panion
new
Game
car will
Room.
have a rack and pinion. Sorry, Tim.
That's fine. Where are we?
We're at Lake Norman Patio and Game Room,
Thank you,
folks. There's a foosball table downstairs right now.
$500.
Yep, that's
Out the door.
normally $1,000.
Only 1,000. And it comes with.
I just did your deal.
That's fine. No, it took you a year and a half, and you finally did it.
I know Vicky's saying, just say no.
Oh yeah, the foosball. I know we got some stuff here. Don't worry about it. Who's
If I had room in my man cave, I'd probably have that thing down there for 500
That's
bones.
fine. I'd rather have the tabletop hockey. Who's Lori Beatty Garden Hanger?
That's my sister.
She lives
my
where?
sister.
She the one who lives in Lakeland?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw one of your relatives living in Lakeland or something, Florida.
Oh, that's my aunt.
Your aunt,
Helen.
okay, yeah, because I was just looking at
Hi,
the names
Aunt
today.
Helen.
Because I went to college. I tried to go to college at Florida Southern. Too many rules, and I really wasn't ready for it. So I joined the Navy.
I went to college once.
That
You
happens.
went to college once. Was it for a party?
Yeah, there
I
was a guy I know on a hockey team,
Right.
and at the dorm, it wasn't at the dorm, at their frat house, they were mixing a garbage can full of booze with their hockey sticks.
See, you just don't get this information on any other show.
Some people
God.
call it PJ, party
PJ, yeah,
juice,
party
or
juice, garbage,
purple
jungle
Jesus.
juice,
jungle
right.
juice, party,
We
garbage
call it
can punch.
Wapatui.
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 Perfect. Marcia Bowe says hi.
Hey, Marcia, the owner of Cedarvale Winery.
Ah.
If you're ever in Logan Township, New Jersey, stop by Cedarvale. I'm giving her a plug.
Well,
here.
go for it. I like it.
Cedarvale Winery. See, I had to Marcia Gavetta.
Right.
Love them.
That'll be
You
$500.
in a commercial somewhere in your
You
package?
take plastic.
You just seem to like rattle these commercials, these mentions, like almost like a commercial.
I I can roll with
Nothing
it.
wrong with that. We do it all the time. Perfect. What else we got to talk about here? We good? What do we have to cover?
Was there anything you wanted to
Well, I think we covered everything, but the thing is,
Do we know who started on a poll for next year?
This has been on there the whole time. It's the last scribble.
These are my notes. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the whole-
you ain't reading that.
No, that's it. So it's only take the notes, and then the rest we just kind of
Right.
wing.
It's like shorthand, but Tim hand.
Sometimes I have to go. Who wrote my wrote that?
You would have to get drunk to read that.
No, no, that's how it starts.
Right. That's what my handwriting looks like
Yes,
after.
yeah. Hey,
Well,
you give me a laptop and a typewriter, I'm
I
fantastic
know.
with it. I'm good with that.
I'm not.
Who's, Pete, TU, here we go, thanks, Tom, for the plug. Marcia's laughing. You won't keep laughing when you get the bill for that, Marcia. It's okay. Great show, Vicky says. That's awesome. Vicky into racing, or did you kind of drag her along, or
Yeah,
was she into it?
she was a Gordon fan.
Okay, all right.
You know, she had never been
Wonder
to Dover.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wonder. Yeah,
Never took her to Dover, so you took her to Dover.
right.
Right.
So it was her, like I said, it was her first time at Dover, but the whole experience of a real
Right.
full capacity NASCAR race wasn't there.
Okay.
But she said she's open to go to another track.
Perfect.
You know,
Okay.
now that we got to fix the scanner, we had to borrow my friend Steve's. Well, luckily he had 2 headsets, and we all tapped into his scanner.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, we had a scanner issue there.
That's all right.
And-
But you got, if you go, you got to get the
Yeah.
scan.
You want to hear 'em.
You can hear what's
You
going
want
on.
to hear the colorfulness of
Oh,
the
yeah.
language nowadays.
F-bombs and the yelling at each other and
Right.
arguing.
Yeah. So
Then
Vic's
2 minutes, they're like, you're good, yeah, I'm good, let's go. It's like, yeah,
Vicky is getting into photography, so
I'll picture that.
her chance to go on a road trip and see the sights and see the people.
Very good.
You know, I could go watch the whole race and she's still talking to people and taking pictures.
Good.
You know,
Perfect.
But yeah, she'll get involved the more I take her to more races. Plus, we have the dirt track I haven't taken her to yet.
So one more thing. What do you think of this new car that's coming?
All right, good question.
How do you feel about what they're doing with this?
I'm-
And first of all, let me ask you: do you understand what they're doing? This is a complete. The complete car is built by other manufacturers other than a NASCAR team,
right.
and it pretty much is it's a kit almost that you're going to buy, and it's assembled. You're going to assemble it. I keep telling the guys, I don't even think we're going to need a welder.
Really,
Really, like I don't even think we're going to need to.
a entire bolt-on car.
It's an entire assembled,
Chassis.
bolt-together car.
I can work on it.
If you can thread a nut to a bolt,
Yeah, I can work on it.
You probably
Very good.
could.
I could become a car builder.
Depends how fast you can do it,
Well, that's
because
another story.
that's going to be.
That's what it's different.
But-
It's a Christmas item, Vicky.
So
It's Christmas.
So what I'm getting at is everybody really is going to have the same components
Right.
and the same. The only things that will be different will be the seat because of the driver, and that will be the engines. But if you're Ford, you're going to get a Ford. If you're Toyota, obviously you get a Toyota. Chevy, you get a Chevy. But everything else on that car will be the same for everyone. You know, right now we build our own oil tanks. We
Right.
build our own
Right.
uppers. We
Now-
build
but
our
now
own
it's all gonna
mowers.
come to you.
Right.
It's shipped in and you go to the parts department and
Yeah.
get it. God.
I am very old school, so I'm trying to stay open-minded in this. You know, when they first announced the center lug, one lug,
Right.
you know, that just set a firestorm off to all the old school. I said, well, you know what? It is the 5 lug. It was always about, you know, zipping them on,
Yeah.
the timing and all that. But I don't know if
You don't know how much one of them guys make, and it's ridiculous. Let me
Right.
tell you that.
well, not only that, but
And I know a lot of them. I'm not beating up on
Yeah, I
them,
get it.
but because they're making it because the owners pay them to do it. So
And they've trained and all that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep the core fans that have been fans for 20, 30, 40 years, trying to keep them open-minded and in the sport.
Right.
Because even when we go back to full capacity, we've been losing fans, and that's not great.
So-
because I think the younger crowd's just not into it.
Because they're not into cars, they're not working on cars, they're not doing like we did.
So you
Right.
know,
They never had a tap on a
It's
starter
no
to get it.
passing it down.
it's kind of like this car is going to be more stock, not stock from Randy Marion or stock from Chevrolet or from Ford. It's going to be more stock
Within the sport.
for everybody within the sport. Okay. Because I heard someone say, "Oh, we're going to get back to more of our stock roots," and I didn't agree with that. But now, when I think about it, yes, it is. It's more box stock for everybody. But actually, in my opinion, when we were able to do more with what we were handed, not less, the racing, and it's always about the same,
Right.
but the competition was better. I'll say it like that, right? You know, one of a good friend of mine, crew chief, said one time, he said, the reason that Jeremy Mayfield was able to win a race, you know, at Penske was because they put him in a better car. He was not a better driver than Dale Earnhardt. That car was better than what Dale had. You know, and unless you know, I always said, if Danica could have been back in those days, they might have been able to win her a race. You know, if you can make the car that much more superior, then a less superior driver is able to win. And I think that makes the sport better, because then an underdog can win, right?
Okay, and the one thing I hope that you said competition, I hope that I mean, it's competitive, but there's been a lot of strung out races, like,
Right.
you know, all these guys. I don't want to go back to the old days where 3 cars finished on the lead lap. I mean,
I
you don't want that. I mean, we had last couple weeks ago, we had, what, 7 or 8 finish on the lead lap?
If the cars are all equal, right?
Sure,
If
let's see
the
what
cars
happens.
are all equal, like, let's say, a lot of people compare it to IROC, right?
Right.
All right.
And there was still always a couple, about a half a dozen guys in IROC that dominated it.
Sure.
You know, it wasn't, you know, when you go to a road course, Little Al would be fast. When you go to Daytona or Michigan, it would be Mark Martin or Dale Earnhardt would be fast. You know what I mean? Little Al wouldn't go to Michigan and necessarily beat them guys because they know how to do it, you know, and, you know.
Well, it's the same spin, you know, in the IROC, if you throw a Steve Kinzer into it,
Right.
he's from the dirt world. Maybe he was never hitting 180 and being draft racing
Right.
and passing. You know, he always, you know, had to throw his car around.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And then you throw those drivers on a dirt track and Steve would be kicking their butts.
Right.
So you got to have an open mind to it, and you just hope that it makes the sport better, because really it's unknown territory. They really don't know how it's going
The
to.
cream still will rise to the top.
You know.
I mean, that's my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to see when it gets more equal who the talented guys really are.
If it doesn't, I'm just going to take over NASCAR. I'm going to march right into
That's
the
good.
home office and
You're
say,
gonna walk
"Dude,
in,
you and the
walk
other
in with your number one
get out."
team T-shirt on, and
Yeah.
a bucket of beer in your arm, and go, "Hey, you! This is how we're going to do it around
And
here."
security asked, I said, they sent me. You know, I have no idea on me, but see, you know, just go on there Tuesday nights with those guys.
Those
say,
guys,
hey, I
that's
bet you, I challenge you, you wouldn't do this. So,
Well, speaking of IROC, we have a taste of what that could look like again. SRX is starting next Saturday.
Yeah.
I am very much looking forward to watching that.
I'm a little bit excited
I'm
about
like
that one
going-
too. He's putting together a lot of good sponsors.
Yes, that. Camping World just got named the
Yep.
title sponsor. I see Sparco has the uniforms,
Yep.
and the luggage and everything, but I think CBS is behind it, CBS Sports, and it might be a litmus test for them to go, hey, let's see how we do with this. Maybe we get NASCAR back again. I don't know, I'm just saying. But you have all those different drivers. You have Willie T. Ribbs, you have
Yep. Haley Deegan's going to drive
Haley
one now.
Deegan's going to be in 2 of the
Michael
races.
Waltrip.
Yep, and Michael Waltrip, Bobby Labonte.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing all these different guys get out there and race against each other.
That'll be fun. It's going to be.
There's no such thing as a friendly competition.
And they're going to be shorter.
Yeah,
You know.
2-hour shows.
Yeah.
2 or 3 heats, and 3 heats I think. Then
Yeah.
you go to the feature, and it's over in 2 hours.
It'd be a little bit easier to
Sure.
pay attention to.
What are they doing? They're starting on Stafford, then they're going to Eldora, Nashville, Knoxville, Slinger.
Slinger.
They're going to Slinger. That's quarter mile track.
That is like Bristol, but smaller.
Smaller, right? That'll be good. So I'm
I've
looking
actually
forward
made
to
a lap around there, and a buddy of mine's 1970 Buick GS.
Was the place
It was
over?
after the race was over,
Yeah.
and he decided he wanted to take his car out on the track and take
Sure.
a lap. He ended up getting a bolt in his tire.
Well, that's what you get when you work.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
you ever notice he goes back to Buick? It was an old Buick
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
67
This
Park
is-
Sabre, built like a tank,
Okay.
turning in like
This was the
this.
same guy, I think, that owned that other Buick.
Oh, jeez.
And maybe his parents had him. I don't know.
Perfect.
But he had a Buick GS convertible.
Perfect. All right, we're at the top of the hour. Tom, thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you
All right.
as your support, tuning in, telling people about us. It's great how you found us. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody
The
watching?
pandemic.
Yeah, because look what I'm doing.
The damn pandemic.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew one day and here you are sitting with us, and now you're the #1 fan, and you're the guest of honor today.
Thank you.
Did a special show
Thank you
for
for having me on.
No, our pleasure.
We're gonna go get some wings.
Go let's get some wings.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. All right, everybody, have a good one. We appreciate you. We are still here, well, at Lake Norman Patio Game Rooms. Come on down. Great furniture, outdoor deck furniture. Game room downstairs. Tom went and checked it out. There's some great pool tables, foosball, tabletop hockey. Come on down, check them out. Thank you, Brad. Cornhole boards down there, and even
Even the guitar.
guitar if you want. No, I'm not gonna play it.
Elvis is now in the building.
Thank you very much. All right, appreciate everybody. I'm not going to crack up here, so should we say good afternoon, Dick?
Yeah.
Good afternoon,
Good
Dick.
afternoon, Dick.
Thank you. Oh, the crowd goes wild. All right, have a good one, everybody.
Easy, I'll get the
Wow, hey, another great show.
Great
Thank
show.
you so much, everybody,
Yep,
for tuning
enjoyed
in.
it.
We appreciate it. We do this every Tuesday night, and Warren, I think the guests we've had have been fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And the people that are following us, we appreciate it. We're reaching 42,000 people a month. Can you believe that? And we appreciate you watching. And
Right. We're having fun. Hope everybody else enjoys it.
that's it. And it's just a fun show. Bucket of beer, guys sitting around talking about it. So keep tuning in. We appreciate it. Check out our store and everything. But we appreciate you people, and we will see you next week. Right, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right. See you next week.